So anyway, we do await our chat with the commissioner of the NFL. We're supposed to be chatting with him in a few moments' time. I can tell you the Minnesota Vikings are going to be the first NFL team to play in 3 countries in one season. So that's a good triv question if you're into that. So they're going to be playing, I think they'll play at Spurs, they're going to play at Croke Park, and obviously they'll be playing in the States. So, because, for the first time, 28th of September, the Vikings will play the Pittsburgh Steelers, the first game in Dublin. And, in fact, perfect timing, just as we're talking about it. Henry Hodgson, NFL UK and Ireland General Manager, joins us. Hi, Henry. Hi, Henry.
Hi there, how are
you? We got
good,
you,
there you
no
are.
problem.
We can see you as well.
There he is. As we just said, so Minnesota Vikings, good trivia question, playing in 3 countries in one season.
That's a good trivia question. It is, yes. They will be, I think, the first people that can say that.
Yeah, absolutely.
What criteria do you use to select the teams that will come and play over in Europe?
So for the teams, we announced the teams that were the hosting, what we call the designated teams, earlier this year. And those are teams that, for the most part, are clubs that have made an investment in a market, have decided that they want to play in the UK or Ireland because they want to grow their fan base there. Then really it comes down to the opponent that we announced today, really comes down to who's on their schedule and how does, as the NFL schedule makers, build the schedule out, how does the schedule fall and how do we make sure we get the best possible matchups in the right places.
Where the NFL have done well, and something I bet the Premier League look at enviously, when they talked about a 39th game, people went mad and said you can't have that, you can't play a game. But NFL, they only play 8 home games, and to lose one of them, it takes some understanding, I think, from the local fans.
I think you're right. I mean, first of all, we've been doing this now since 2007. So I think there's, teams have eventually, and the fans of those teams have got used to the fact that games go overseas. What we're doing now and the way that this has evolved as we've done it over the years is that every team makes the commitment to play overseas on a regular basis, sort of through a cycle. So you also know that in the year that actually, as the season's expanded to 17 games, it means that there's 9 home games for you one year and then 8 next year. So in the year that you have 9 home games, every few years that happens, you'll have to give up one of those games. And I think, that's a fair way of doing it. Every fan base knows that that's coming. And in this case, obviously, we're really excited about the games and the teams that are going to be playing in the games in 2025. I
was chatting to some fans at one of the games at Spurs, Henry, and they've kind of factored it in now. They know it's coming. They know there's overseas games, and they're working a trip to London as much as they can into the schedule and making it a holiday.
Exactly, and I think that's what we're especially seeing in Dublin this year. This obviously will be the first time we've played an NFL game in Dublin. The Pittsburgh Steelers, for those that aren't aware, their ownership, the Rooney family, all hail from Ireland, so they're very excited about bringing the Steelers to Ireland and kind of showing off the sports team that they have. And what we're seeing is an incredible amount of interest from fans from Pittsburgh or Steelers fans from across the US to come and experience a weekend in Dublin and with a Steelers game included in
it. Obviously, the NFL are happy for their games to be played overseas, so you start to think, what could be next? Could we see an NFL draft possibly in London? Could we?
Well, the big one would be a Super Bowl.
A Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't doubt for a moment we could handle one in this country. It's whether it would be seen as sacrosanct.
Yeah, I think it's certainly, something that gets debated pretty frequently, and the Super Bowl's mentioned. The draft is an interesting one that you just mentioned there as well. I think at the moment, our focus is playing more games in more markets as opposed to sort of going deeper in any one market. So hence the decision to play a first game in Dublin this year. We're also playing for the first time in Madrid. So we announced today that the Miami Dolphins will play against the Washington Commanders at the Bernabeu. That's obviously an iconic stadium. Wow. So I think what you're going to see, we actually announced at Super Bowl as well that there'll be a game in Melbourne next year. We played for the first time in Brazil last year. So more than sort of going to the depth of a Super Bowl in London, which we will continue to speculate. And I agree with you. I think London is absolutely capable of hosting an event like that. I think it's mostly about, how do we spread across the globe and do more in more places.
Yeah.
One thing I think they do like is that the kickoff times when the game's in London, because then it really does make for such a full NFL Sunday. You've got, I think, probably 9:30 in the morning
Breakfast.
in America, US.
That's right.
Yeah, through until late night, effectively.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Exactly. I mean, you say quite a full NFL Sunday. The average NFL Sunday is 3 consecutive games, so 9 hours of the NFL on TV. When the games are played in Europe and you have that 9:30 a.m. kickoff on the East Coast of the US, you've got 12 hours consecutive. So that's quite a day in front of the television.
I'm still a big fan of Red Zone. I think that's such a brilliant product, and
it's a great product. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Henry, good to talk to you. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks very much for the time, guys.
Henry Hodgson there, the NFL UK and Ireland General Manager. And once again, here on talkSPORT, talkSPORT 2, we'll have regular content for you from the NFL, lots of live commentaries, and we'll bring
Gavin, he went viral with his commentary.
He did go viral last year, and we'll bring you the Super Bowl again, of course, and all the build-up to it on talkSPORT and talkSPORT 2.